Charlie your gardening questions. Share if you have any gardening tips that have helped your garden grow. Phone numbers are 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. And now, without further ado, here's Charlie.
Here is Charlie. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. I hope you're feeling better than you were at 6:30 this morning.
I think I made it. Thanks to listeners, and I got a lot of nice support from people. Feeling pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, and if you're listening, Frank, which I know you are, we were kicking around whether we're going to do that open or not, but I told Scott to go ahead and do it because it's so near and dear to your heart. So.
Yeah. Well, somebody likes it. Good to see you, though. And I was talking earlier, I'm jealous of the red pepper pictures you showed me. Your red peppers are looking good.
Well, I texted you afterwards. That was actually a picture from last year.
Okay, still.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, yeah, they're not ready yet. But I wanted you to see what those peppers look like because they look like a hot pepper, but they're a sweet pepper. They're a sweet,
right.
Yeah, and a lot of people mistake them for that. So I wanted to show you, and yeah, that probably is the biggest one that I ever grew.
I was going to say, we got some conversation topics we're going to get into, but the phone lines are open as well. And last time I was doing Garden Jargon with you, the phones just never stopped. They were lit up with people with questions. So I encourage you out there, you have a gardening question for Charlie, the number is 724-843-1888. I've been texting him questions. Hey, what's going on with my strawberries? What's going on? So he knows his stuff. And well, where are we at right now? The time of year? It's definitely not harvest season yet.
Well, that's and that's something I don't have that in the notes. But I was thinking while I was driving over here, the garden season is cyclical. Okay, and it's they kind of blend together. But you have preparation, planting, nurturing, harvesting. And they kind of, while you're nurturing, you can be harvesting. I've harvested, I don't have any tomatoes ready yet. I have harvested some potatoes. I have harvested some zucchini. I have harvested some cabbage. Okay. And you continue to have to nurture and take care of things. But yeah, it's sequential. And, and you mentioned about calling in. Okay. I love to talk to people. You can tell that. All right. People come up to me in the Aldi and say, "Hey, why don't you talk about this? Hey, how about this?" And I always say, "When I'm on, give me a call."
Yeah.
Because a lot of people may have that same question or that same piece of advice, and don't be shy. Nobody here bites that I know of. Scott's got a bit of the plague, but I don't think you can catch that over the radio.
It'll be fine. Weather-wise, it's been all over the place this year. We've had the 90-degree days we suffered through last week, and there's been rain nonstop, it seems, that sometimes. What kind of effect has that had on typical backyard gardens?
Insects. Insects. And last year, I lost a lot of cabbage because right as the heads were forming, we had days and days and days of rain, and I grew cabbage. It looked beautiful on the outside, but when you cut it open, it had rotted from the inside out because of all that moisture. And there's not really a lot you can do about it. And Scott, that's what I say all the time. I do it for a hobby. If I was doing it to pay the mortgage, I'd lose my mind. Look at what happened to the strawberry crop this year, that late frost, and it just, farmers are up against it. And I know we got some topics. I want to skip down to the bottom just because of a little conversation you and I had. I'm always fascinated at what triggers somebody's interest. And apparently the term banana water sparked your interest because you said it sounded like it would be a band that would open at the Fillmore in 1967 for Moby Grape. This is a real quick, short topic, okay? This is something that a neighbor of mine that grew up in a tenement in Chicago, which I've been helping garden. He lives across the street from me, and he looks at a lot more stuff on the internet than I do. And he told me about this a few years ago. All right, you get it. This costs you no money, $0, free.
I like it.
Okay, yes, okay, and there's more. Okay, but you get a 5-gallon bucket. Ideally, catch some rainwater if you got a place where you can catch some rainwater. All right, get a 5-gallon bucket. And most everybody has a banana now and again. I eat a banana every day, okay? When you peel the banana, you eat the banana. Instead of throwing the banana in the trash, throw it in that bucket of water, all right? And you get this bucket of banana water. Now, when the weather is really hot, you got to turn it over quick. You got to use it up and replenish it because it'll get pretty ripe, all right? But there's a lot of nutrients in those banana peels. And there are people that bury the banana peels in the garden and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But this way, it's like an elixir. You have this bucket of stuff, And you just, when you water your plant, and especially if you have a plant that's looking a little weak, looking a little tired, beleaguered, you put some of that banana water on. Don't put it on the leaves because that's going to bring the bugs in. Soak it in around the roots. Doesn't cost you anything. And that pepper that I sent you the picture of, I fed banana water. That isn't the only reason it got that big. And
what's the science behind that? Is it the potassium or what's causing the...
There's potassium, and there's a lot of trace minerals, elements in a banana that that goes into the ground. And the way I look at it, Scott, it's like, and Epsom salts is good for peppers too, okay? That was brought up in a previous show. That's one of those things, even if it doesn't help the plant, it's not going to hurt it. It's not going to have some bad effect. There isn't some plant that you're going to put that banana water on, it's going to curl up and die. It's an organic thing. And you're right, there's potassium in there, there's other trace elements. So there's something that's free, doesn't cost you anything, but when the weather is like it's been and it's 90 plus degrees, that bucket will get ripe smelling, okay? And all you got to do is just dip some out and then put some fresh water in it. Just keep turning it over, and you get a little bonus with it. It's a mosquito trap.
Oh.
The mosquitoes go in there to breed, and they get in that sticky banana water, and they can't get out.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I found that out by accident, But, that's another plus to it. But anyways, back to the top of the thing here. Staying safe while you're in the garden. And go back to a little conversation that you and I had. I believe you said your wife has that app on her phone that she can identify plants, and something that was in your garden could be toxic.
If consumed in a larger quantity, yeah.
Right. And some of
it
those
looks like a grapevine. It was, wow, is this a grapevine that the old owners left? No, it's some kind of slightly toxic plant.
Well, you sent is that the one you sent me the picture of? And I sent you the picture back of a grape leaf, what it looks like. Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. A lot of these things, you don't have to eat them to get the toxin. You can absorb things through the pores in your skin. Okay? So the one of the simplest, safest, first things I get into is gardening gloves. One thing, it keeps your fingers from getting tore up when you're weeding and whatnot. And if you might reach in and grab a handful of poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac. You got gloves on. If you don't have the gloves, you know what's going to happen. And the other thing is safety glasses. Now, you don't have to worry. If you go out to weed your cabbage plants, you don't have to put safety glasses on. But if you're prone to spray a pesticide or an herbicide, I don't like those things, around the edge of the garden, you think you're spraying it, and all of a sudden a gust of wind comes along, and that stuff blows up in your face. So if you have the safety glasses on, at least it keeps it from getting in. Now, you wear contact or corrective lenses, so if you're wearing them all the time, you're pretty much protected anyways. But if you don't, and you can get a pair you can get them for a couple bucks, and if it gets scratched up, go get another pair for a couple bucks. But of course, if your neighbors see you out there with gloves and goggles on working in your garden, they may call the authorities on you and have you taken away. Okay. But this is a little bit more serious and long-term thing. If you garden, make sure your tetanus shots are up to date.
Oh.
If you haven't had a tetanus shot in 10 years, go get one, okay? And you can get, if you cut your finger or something, if you go to the emergency room and get stitches, the first thing they do is give you a tetanus shot.
Right.
Okay. All right. And this is some kind of bittersweet personal knowledge. At one point, tetanus killed 71% of the people that contracted it in America.
Wow.
My grandfather was one of those 71%. He kept horses. He loved horses. The tetanus bacillus will live in a horse's belly the whole time they're alive. And if you use horse manure in your garden, that tetanus bacillus is in the soil forever. It never goes away, okay? So maybe you put the horse manure down 10 years ago, but the bacillus is still in the ground, okay? Now, it's not near as bad as it used to be. They say now that, I hate that they say, but anyways, the statistic is 6 to 10% still die, but it has some serious ramifications, after effects. If you have tetanus, things, ravages your body because it's a horrible viral infection. So get your tetanus shot. And the other thing that's in our area, it's all over the East Coast, it's an epidemic proportion, is Lyme disease. I know you've heard about Lyme disease.
There's a 10-year increase, or it's the most tick bites emergency rooms have seen in 10 years in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Now, there's some facts. I don't claim to be knowledgeable about Lyme disease, but these are the facts. All ticks do not carry Lyme disease, and all of a certain species of ticks don't carry the Lyme disease. And you've heard the thing: if you get a tick, I had a couple of them that I got when I was hunting, and I wouldn't had them professionally dug out because I had all those tick tools you're supposed to put. Nothing worked for me. They might work for you. Okay, I went to the medical thing, and what they do is if it's a tick, they're going to give you a course of antibiotic to take as a precautionary thing. Okay, but this is all tick infections that have Lyme disease don't get the bullseye. You've heard there's like the ring around the tick bite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been there.
Yeah. Okay. The bullseye doesn't always appear. You could be infected with Lyme disease, okay, and not have it. And we have a young lady. She was in the Beaver Falls band, got bit by a tick, and I think if I remember right, they traced the tick infestation to a peach tree in her yard. She wasn't even out in the woods or anything. She's very, very sick.
Oh wow.
And it's not and the reason why I bring that up is the early symptoms are flu-like symptoms. Maybe like you're feeling now.
Now you got me worried. Yeah.
Well, check for ticks, okay. Yeah. But the thing is, if you know you've been bit by a tick, if you dig it out yourself and put some alcohol on it and all this and that, okay. If you start to feel the flu-like symptoms, the aches and what the flu feels like, okay. As of 6 o'clock this morning, you know for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, go. And from what I understand, if you get a massive dose of the antibiotic early on, they can stave it off. I've heard about people that have had it a couple of times and they've had it staved off. But the natural thing is, it won't happen to me. It's nothing. Okay. So, and along those lines, if you are gardening in a rural area, and let's say that your garden is near the woods or there's some high weeds, vegetation around there, there's a chemical, and I'm not trying to do a commercial. It's called permethrin, Permethrin. You can buy it at the big box store. You can buy it in spray cans, whatever. Don't put it on your skin. You spray it on your clothes. I don't like any of the stuff you put on your skin, all right? You spray it, and if you know you might be around a tick-infested area, you wear long sleeves. Mm-hmm. Don't wear shorts. I know when it's 100 degrees, it's tempting to go out there, okay? But if you're in the area, that will protect you to a certain extent. They'll still crawl up underneath your shirt sleeves and up your pant legs and stuff, okay? But wear long sleeves, don't wear shorts, and spray your clothes. And this is the thing, and this is kind of scary. You read the can of permethrin, it will tell you how long that protection will last and that you can wash the clothes several times between treatments, okay? And that's kind of weird to me that it's that strong that it stays in there through all those washings. But since I started spraying my hunting clothes with permethrin, I no more ticks. So you roll the dice, pick your poison, one thing or another. So
I had a tick bite 5 years ago, and I went to Urgent Express to get it done, and they took it out, and I was embarrassed, and I was like, leave it to me to get a tick, and the nurse practitioner was like, you realize how many of these we do a year? They do so many.
Oh yeah, and unfortunately or fortunately, they've gotten pretty good at it because they're seeing so many of them, And the one I had that was really uncomfortable. It was in my neck.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and it crawled down underneath my hunting because before I was using the permethrin. So, wear some gloves, get some safety glasses, make sure you got your tetanus shot, and do the precaution for the Lyme disease. Now here, this is, okay, call, okay.
Well, we got a phone call. Let's take a call right now. You were on with Charlie Dirt talking garden jargon. Hello there.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can, Georgie. We can.
Hey, Georgie, how you feeling, brother?
Good. How you guys doing?
Well, I haven't fallen down my cellar steps lately, so I'm doing better than you are.
Hey, we'll never live that one down, will I? Oh, Lord. Well, anyways, good morning to you, too. Question, Charlie.
Go ahead.
We're pretty close to the same age, I think. I'm going to be a few years older than you. But I had hunting dogs, and I had dogs. We hunted all our life. My question is, why then we weren't so worried about ticks as we are today? What is the reason behind this? Do you have an idea?
Well, I'm going to tell you something, George. You're from the same neck of the woods as I am. I grew up in Ambridge. You're in Conway. But the thing is, if you remember when we were in school, they talked about ticks, but they talked about Rocky Mountain spotted fever. I still remember it. And that was the big tick thing. The Lyme disease was unheard of. I don't know where it has come from. It's the deer tick mostly that carry it, and they infect the deer, and it's scary. And until I found out about I almost quit hunting. Because I've known the people that had gotten the Lyme disease. And I'm glad you brought this up, because what your question is a good segue. Medical research on Lyme disease, because like you said, where did it come from? All right, now, I'm going to give you two numbers, and this is going to blow your mind, George. The government funds a lot of research, okay? Some of it very good, some of it not so much. But the last statistic I got is they spent $52 million on research for Lyme disease. And the same year, they spent $225 million on research into malaria. George, I know not lots, but I know several people have Lyme disease. Do you know anybody that's got malaria?
No.
Okay. Malaria is something.
Malaria was during World War II, over in, we were fighting the Japanese in the jungles. Well, they even gave you shots for Vietnam,
Right.
Malaria.
Right, and the malaria was a big problem when they were building the Panama Canal, and I can't remember the doctor's name, went down there and found out they sprayed the swamps with like an oil mixture to keep them from breeding. Okay, and because people were dying down there working on the Panama Canal from malaria, and the only real treatment they had for it then, as I remember, was this thing called quinine, which is kind of an extract from lemon peels or something like that, But yeah, and you ask a question that I ask all the time. Why is this? Why all of a sudden is this disease here? And I wish I had an answer. I wish the doctors had an answer, because they could probably stop it.
Yeah, for sure, because it is scary, You think about it. And I had a spot in my back one time, and I had to go to the doctor because it wouldn't heal. And I thought it might have been a tick, but he went there and then they lanced it and stuff, and he said it wasn't a tick. So, yeah, you got to be careful when you're outside and you're out in the woods and that, because that is a scary situation,
Right.
Absolutely.
And I want to go back. I called in afterwards after you called and asked a question last month about the pepper that looked good on the outside and it was all rotten on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and it dawned on me, this has happened in my garden. Sometimes I don't think fast enough. But I was driving home from doing the show. I've picked peppers out of my garden that look perfectly good, cut them open, and they're rotten. Now, here's what happens, George. There is a worm. I don't know the name of the worm, but the diameter of this worm is like the size of a needle. And they'll burrow in through the skin of the pepper, go inside. You'll never see that hole. When you pick that pepper, and it doesn't rot around like where the hole is, but it gets in there and it lays eggs. And so then the inside of your pepper is rotten and the outside looks good. And I said about the chemicals, and I still believe that, but it could have been, and you'll never see that worm. When you cut that pepper open, you will not see the worm. So I'm glad you called, because we did a little follow-up for that.
Yeah, but how do you find the worm that if you can't see it?
Well, you don't find it. You just realize that a pepper is ruined.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got what
And please don't take offense about me teasing you about the steps, because I fall down 2 or 3 times a day.
That's the first time in my life I ever fell down like that. I looked at it down. My neighbor, I wanted to go out and see him before he left, and when I had to miss a step, and down I went.
Oh.
And you know what, George? When you get to be our age, it takes a lot longer to heal than it takes to get hurt.
Ooh.
Well, how old are you now, Joe? You're what?
75.
Okay, I'm 78. Okay, I thought it was a couple of years on you, but
Okay, can I call you Pop? Can I call you Pops from now on?
Yeah, man. Yes, or even Uncle George.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, you guys take care. Love the program.
Hey, thanks for calling,
Appreciate
George.
you calling. You take care. Got another phone call, too. You take care. Hey, you're on with Charlie Dirt talking garden jargon.
Hi. I'd like to make a couple comments and then ask a question.
Sure.
Okay.
The first one is about Lyme disease. I did not a whole lot of reading, but I researched a little bit, and it seems like the consensus is that it was developed in a lab off of an island off of Connecticut, at Lyme, Connecticut, and that's why it's called Lyme disease.
Oh,
And
Okay.
yeah, and then oftentimes when people get the Lyme disease, it goes along. There's some other bacteria or viruses or something in with it. So when people get Lyme disease, they often pick up a secondary thing right with it, because it's like, I don't know if it was deliberately intermingled that way, but it was like, I guess, under research for a bioweapon, and somehow it escaped. Anyway, but Pennsylvania, I think, is supposed to be the worst place for it. And
interesting.
my daughter is in Venango County, and my granddaughter said not to let the little girl out in the yard unless she's treated her clothes with, I think he said DEET, the DEET or whatever, or, I'm sure that's the other thing that the gentleman was talking about,
Well, DEET was, you're exactly right. DEET was like the first generation of things, and the permethrin was developed, is supposed to be more effective and safer than the DEET. I think DEET is still out there.
Where do you buy permethrin?
Walmart.
Okay.
I mean,
That easy.
But it's kind of toxic to cats, so you have to be careful.
Ooh.
Did you say toxic to cats?
The permethrin.
Pets. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't hear. Okay, well, that's the more good knowledge.
No, it isn't. Well, maybe it is. I mean, it is, unless you were somebody that wanted to kill cats.
Well, we had a lady called in here today. Had a lady that wanted to kill a few people who were after her cats.
There's a groundhog I like to have a word with, but
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Well, my neighbor across the street, she got Lyme disease, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she hadn't been in the woods or anywhere except her backyard.
Well, like I alluded to, the young lady that I know of, she lives in downtown Beaver Falls, well manicured lawn, no weeds or anything, and she got the Lyme. And here's the other thing: it's misdiagnosed a lot. False positive, false negative. They tell you don't have it, and you do, and vice versa. And this young lady, her mother took her to 3 different states, going to all these specialist doctors. They finally tracked down it was Lyme disease. And they believe that it was a tick infestation in a peach tree in her yard. That's a theory. That's not a lock. That's a theory. And yeah, that's the most devastating thing. You're not in the woods. You're not in the high weeds. You're not out with the deer, and you get Lyme disease. And that's what's really scary. Where did it come from?
Yeah, and people's dogs and cats are getting it too, and they're not walking them in the woods. But one thing, they're on the deer in the woods, but when they're not in the woods, they get on mice, and that's kind of the vector for them in the town is mice. So people.
Go ahead.
For the ticks, ticks live on mice.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Yes, I had forgot about that because they call them deer tick. Yeah, and that gets the mice as a little vehicle for them to ride around on. And the thing is, if you're not familiar with the way the tick feeds, it burrows into your skin. It gorges on blood till it swells up, and then it drops off, and lays eggs and makes more ticks. And if you wait to the point where you swells up and falls off of your skin, you're in trouble. You've got to get it removed before it gets to that.
Yeah.
And I've heard it's ridiculous how many eggs one tick can lay.
Ugh.
It's like millions of eggs. And
I'd stay in the house all summer.
Last point I want to make about this is that maybe people should be kinder to neighborhood cats, because if the cats are getting the mice, then maybe theoretically that should cut down on the Lyme disease.
That's a good point.
yes, it is. The food chain, the chain of nature.
There you go.
So that's about all I can say about that, except it can live in leaves too in the fall. The pediatrician told my daughter that if you have leaves laying in your ground, that there can be ticks in the dead leaves.
And the dead leaves.
Yeah. And that's thank you, because I use leaves on my garden all the time for compost. And if you use leaves for compost, you get this leaf mold, and the leaf mold is a main food for earthworms, and earthworms are a natural nitrogen source for your garden. So, and most all gardeners will use leaves if they got them, and that's another good thought, because I pile them up and let them rot down and till them in. So, I have to take my own advice. Using more permethrin when I'm out in the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I guess, like everything else, you've got if you do it too much, you go into a danger zone. If you don't do it enough, you're in a deficit zone, and I guess you have to try to balance everything to get your best outcome,
Well said.
Life is a series of challenges and climaxes, and yeah.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Well, that's. I don't have anything else to say about ticks. I mean, I just,
Well, thanks for calling again. That's some very good information.
Yes, we appreciate you very much. You take care now.
Thank you.
All right,
bye.
Bye. We will have Noah in about 90 seconds to give us the news.
Season is here. For some of you, that means shining up the car and heading down the highway. For others, it might mean grabbing the wheel on the other side of your vessel and cruising the local waterways in your boat. Yet there are some of you that cruise season means letting somebody else do the driving while you enjoy all-you-can-eat buffets on a luxury liner at sea. This is Andy Dengel from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Well, whatever floats your boat. Freedom United Federal Credit Union can get you cruising sooner than you think with easy-term auto, recreational vehicle, and vacation loan programs. Put things on cruise control. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union today and let the fun begin tomorrow. Loans are based on credit approval. Visit freedomunitedfcu.com for rates and details. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
July 11th and 12th, experience the Pittsburgh Music Festival presented by Pittsburgh Brewing Company and U.S. Steel at Pittsburgh Brewing Company in Creighton. Your support benefits Band Together Pittsburgh and Autism Pittsburgh. 2 days of outstanding local music like Joe Grishecki and the House Rockers, Billy Price Band, Sun King Warriors, The Gathering Field, Norm Nardini, and tons more. All on the Iron City stages. Great music, great community, and a great cause. July 11th and 12th. Tickets at pghmusicfestival.com.
Noah's here now with the news.
Thanks, Scott. Good morning. On this Wednesday, July the 8th of 2026, we will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. 68-year-old Jeffrey Owens of Aliquippa died after being hit by a vehicle in Aliquippa yesterday. This happened on the 2600 block of Broadhead Road, and it occurred at around 10:03 p.m. Owens was a pedestrian on that road, and 23-year-old Marcus Barkovich of Aliquippa did not yield to Owens and hit him with his vehicle. Owens was pronounced dead at the scene. Officials note that Pennsylvania State Police are leading the investigation into this incident. According to police, Barkovich was deemed to be under the influence and was arrested on scene before he was transported to the hospital for a legal blood draw. Charges against Barkovich are pending further investigation of this crash. Flaherty Run Road is temporarily closed to traffic in both directions between Broadhead Road and Route 51 in Moon Township because of recent storm damage. No estimate has been released on the reopening time of the road. However, the PennDOT 511 map affirms that the detours could be in place through August 31st. According to the Township of Crescent, the top of Stoops Ferry will also close. The suggested detours for drivers can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. A new scam is going around in Beaver County as the county sheriff's office received numerous calls regarding this scam that is being perpetrated by individuals who are claiming to be county deputy sheriffs. The scam caller advises the victims that there is a warrant out for them for failing to appear for federal jury duty and that the warrant can be resolved by making an immediate payment via Western Union to account numbers they provide. Do not give any personal information away to the scammers, and if the caller claims that the county sheriff's office has a warrant for you, please call either 724-770-4602 or 724-775-0880. A summary of how to safeguard you from becoming the victim of any scam courtesy of the Beaver County Sheriff's Office can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. A $600 million class action settlement is finally paying out more than 3 years after the Norfolk Southern train derailment occurred in East Palestine, Ohio on February 3, 2023. Those that were impacted could submit claims to get a piece of the awarded settlement, but not everyone is happy with the check amounts that were delivered this week. Direct payment checks were paid on a per-household basis, and they were mailed on June 30th. The per-household basis means that they all got reviewed and combined for just one check if multiple claims were submitted from the same house. People can appeal this by going to the link on our website at beavercountyradio.com. Pennsylvania State Police in Pittsburgh reported yesterday that no charges were filed after a two-vehicle crash occurred in Robinson Township on June 28th. According to police, a driver was traveling in his vehicle on I-79 North in the on-ramp area from Coriopolis at 2:14 p.m. and merged onto the interstate improperly, hitting another vehicle. There were no reported injuries. And the Pittsburgh Pirates signed outfielder Joshua Palacios to a minor league contract and optioned him to AAA Indianapolis yesterday, according to the MLB transactions log. Palacios is closer to returning to the Pirates after he played for them in 2023 and 2024. He slashed .236, .291, .398 for an OPS of .689, along with earning 74 hits, 11 doubles, 2 triples, 12 home runs, and 49 RBIs in 114 games with the Pirates.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
We could see areas of patchy fog through mid-morning. Otherwise, it'll be partly sunny today with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. We'll reach highs of 87 and drop down to lows of 68. And tomorrow we'll see a little sunshine along with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Expect highs of 86 and lows in the upper 60s. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, July the 8th of 2026 at 42 minutes after 11. We've got a temperature of 75 degrees and it's overcast out there currently in Beaver County. And that's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Jargon with Charlie Dirt right here on Beaver County Radio. It's being brought to you at Beaver County Radio 95.7, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. The phone lines are now open 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888.
It is indeed Garden Jargon with Charlie Dirt. Always a way to learn about gardening, get you enthused about gardening. And Charlie, one thing I learned this year, the birds came after my berries. I planted some strawberries and had a couple good ones right off the bat, and then I went out, they were gone. I've got like a fence around them to keep the bunnies out, but it doesn't do any good against the birds, does it?
Yeah, I really don't know if rabbits would eat strawberries or not. They may not. But the birds are a problem. It's like I told you, that's why when you see people that have blueberry bushes, they put that netting over because once the birds will come in and they will clean up the berry bushes off. And there's not a whole lot you can do about birds. And I know people that have given up growing strawberries because they say, same thing as you. They blossom and little green berry, and they start to turn ripe, and they're gone.
I had a makeshift scarecrow out there, a pink flamingo, a lawn ornament. I thought that might do some good, and it didn't. So I was at the Beaver Farmers Market a couple weeks ago, and I'm friends with one of the farmers there, the Harley farm family. And I asked, do those work? And they said, no, not really. I said, what's the secret? How can I grow berries? He said, well, you're going to have to get there before the birds do.
Well, yeah, and you remember what I told you when you asked me if scarecrows work? Remember what I told you?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask Dorothy.
Yeah. The Wizard of Oz. One of the topics you wanted to get into is saving seeds from your favorite plants.
Okay.
Talk about that.
Okay. Some things would be too labor-intensive to save seeds from. But if you have, now I would just do peppers and tomatoes because that's the two easiest to save. All right. Number one rule, don't save seeds from a hybrid. If it's a hybrid, you won't get what that plant was. You'll get what one of the parents were.
Interesting.
Yes. And I get a real quick little story about that. I make corn shocks with my corn stalks and use them for decoration, and then I grind them up and till them into my garden in the spring, okay? Well, there was some corn in them corn stalks, okay, little ears, whatever, and they had dried up, and a couple of the seeds germinated in my garden where I tilled them in, and they come up and they grew. And I knew what to come from because I'd tilled them in there. So I just let them go. And I got these corn plants, a couple of them, and I swear to God, they were 10, 11 feet tall. They were huge, and they both got 3 ears of corn on them, which is really unusual. 3 huge ears of corn, and I'm watching them, and I can't wait, like the Three Stooges. I can hardly wait, okay? And I picked that corn, and I cooked it. Giant ears, beautiful. No flavor at all because that was a hybrid. I use hybrid corn seeds.
Okay.
All right. So one of the plant species that they used for a hybrid to make that it's called Jackpot is the name of the corn. It's a hybrid corn. All right. They used that one for stalk strength and size of ears. Then they hybrid that with something else for the flavor and the texture of the corn.
So they're worried about making it look good and not focused on the taste.
Right. Well, they wanted both. They wanted a strong stalk that will be resistant to storms, because storms will level your corn, okay, and something that would produce big ears, but it had no flavor, so they hybrid that with some sweeter corn. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you don't want to save seeds from a hybrid. You can, if it's an heirloom, pepper or tomato, you can save them. Now, it's real simple. Tomato seeds, the tomato seeds are in a tomato in that kind of gelatin kind of thing. All right. You want to take a little butter knife or something, cut the tomato up, and scrape them seeds into a sieve. All right? Like you call it tea strainer, tea sieve. Now, I got some with flat bottoms in that are really nice that I bought years ago. I don't know if they make them anymore, but you could use the round bottom ones, okay? And you run cold water over them, and you stir them and stir them and stir them until you get them real clean. And then just set that sieve in a cup, okay, so it's not dripping all over the place, and leave the seeds dry. And then after the seeds are thoroughly dry,
how long does that take?
Well, don't laugh at me. I have a 1947 stove in my house that has pilot lights. So I set the cup on the stove where the pilot lights keep the thing warm, and mine dry real quick. If you're just setting them on a windowsill or something, it'll take a few days. Sure. You can tell. And they'll be kind of stuck together. All right, you just kind of break them apart. And then what I do is I put them in a pill bottle. That's a good place to store them. Make sure you label them. Because if your memory's anything like mine, you're going to pull that bottle out next year and say, what was this?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, and the peppers are a little different. I don't wash pepper seeds, all right? So you have a pepper that was not a hybrid, like that one that I sent you the picture of, okay? When you cut the pepper, just take that whole web out. Take the whole web out and set that whole web. Now, here's another thing. When you get produce or meat or something, a lot of times it's on a styrofoam tray and they got the shrink wrap over it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I wash them and save them. After you take that web out of the pepper, set it right on that styrofoam. Don't wash it. Leave it dry right on the web. And I found better germination rate if I leave them dry on the web than if I break them off. And after they're dry, you can just kind of flake them off. Same thing. Put them into a pill bottle. The older you get, the more pill bottles you have laying around the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then that's how you save. So, like I say, there's all kind of, you could save all different kind of seeds from all kinds of stuff. It's just too tedious, and it's just too labor intensive for what the rewards are. You can just buy the seeds. But if I have those, like that pepper I sent you the picture of, our whole family, we call them Merle peppers because a guy like 50 years ago gave me one of those. His name was Merle, and he gave me one of those peppers, and I've been saving the seeds ever since. Okay, so peppers and tomatoes are pretty easy. Main rule is not a hybrid, and most people's gardening space is too valuable. You don't want to save a seed and plant it when you're not really sure what you're going to get.
Yes.
But if you get something like a Marglobe tomato, a beefsteak tomato, now you're okay. Got a call? Good deal.
They got a call. Hey, you were on the Beaver County Radio with Charlie Dirt talking gardening.
Good morning, Scott and Charlie. It's Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, we like you did not have to identify yourself.
You got a radio voice, doesn't he?
Okay, well, neither do you two, but I appreciate it. Hey, you're talking about this Promethean, and I would have Judith call, but she's in a store. So, you know what she did with that this year, because she can't stand the thought of these ticks and stuff. She did a lot of research, and she created these Promethean tubes, Charlie. They're like, I don't know, like a 6-inch long tube that you stuff with cotton balls that are immersed in the Promethean, and then you let them dry. And according to her, what happens is the mice take them and use them to build their house. And she said that's where how the ticks get moved around is through the mice. I don't know. Have you ever heard of that?
I never heard of that, but it certainly sounds like it would work because there's been a program on television where I can't remember what disease they're after, but there's an animal that carries the disease. And it's similar to what the last lady said about they're on an island or something. Okay, and they are dealing with the animals that carry the insect that cause the disease. So that's basically the same principle. So all right, so she soaks the cotton in a tube with permethrin, leaves it dry, and then puts it around where the mice will carry it away?
Right, like, in our garage and stuff like that, and places where mice would typically go. And I got to tell you, I mean, she did that. She started it a couple months ago because early this spring, we had a lot of ticks. And, we're just 100 foot from really a large area of woods and stuff like that. But we had a lot of ticks. They were getting on us, getting on our pets and everything. And since she did that thing with the Promethean, and she probably made about 10 or 12 tubes, put them all over the place, kind of around the perimeter of the yard and stuff. We haven't seen a tick since. So just didn't know if you ever heard of that approach.
No, but I'll tell you what, it certainly, I will try it. And for anybody that's listening and the permethrin, it is a relatively inexpensive thing to buy. It isn't like some of these insect repellents that they're pretty expensive. And you can get a good size. Now, there's different ways you can buy it. You can buy spritzer bottles. You can buy it in aerosol cans. It's actually more expensive to buy the spritzer bottle than the aerosol can. So, Tom, what does she do? Does she just get the liquid Promethean like it's in the bottle?
Yeah, she got that, and then she would, I guess, immerse like this cotton wads or whatever in there. And let them dry. She didn't leave them lay around until they were all dried. And the Promethean dries onto the cotton balls, I guess. But, yeah, she got just the plain liquid.
Wow.
So
that's great.
I do have another question. We have a lot of black raspberry bushes. And I heard you mention this early in the hour, right, about you mentioned it about strawberries. Would it affect the black raspberries too? We have barely any this year. And, and we have a lot. We have a fenced-in backyard. We usually get tons of black raspberries, and we got very, very few this year. And do you think it's because of that early frost or late frost or whatever you were saying?
That's a good, we had a lot of black raspberries in the woods when I was a kid, and we used to, my mom made the best black raspberry jelly in the world, and we would dig out those wild plants and bring them down. And the cyclical thing when they're blooming and you can watch them go, and I'm willing to bet they would have been blooming about the same time that the strawberries were blooming. That it was, and you were in the area where you are, Tom. The frost was worse out there, that early frost, because I think that one strawberry grower he was in Ohio. He got hit really bad.
So that's what Judith does. And there's a place up on Route 7. It's called Winkleberry Farm, actually. And they grow like blueberries, black raspberries. They grow a lot of stuff. And it's like you pick them. It's on the honor system and stuff. So since our bushes weren't producing much, I think so far Judith's made, by going up to the farm and picking them, 38 jars of black raspberry jam. So maybe she might have enough to get one of each into each of your hands, I think.
I would take it very gratefully.
Yes, I appreciate that. Okay, now let me tell you a little trick, Tom, that I learned when I was a kid. Just by, remember I said I went out in the woods and I would dig the wild plants and bring them down. Okay, I would notice when I was digging those plants that if the plant bent over, like from the weight of the berries, where that top of the plant touched the ground, it would root. So when I would bring them down out of the woods and plant them for my mom, I would plant the root in the ground and then bend it around. Be careful so you don't break it. And take the top and bury the top down in the ground, and it will make like a loop. So you can get it to reproduce like that. They're really easy to get to root like that. So, I don't know if you know to do that or not, but it's a shame that you lost all those berries. Were the berries you had domestic or were they wild?
Well, we have some wild and some domestic, but neither one of them came around, and we thought, maybe it was birds and squirrels and stuff like that, but we've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of the berries have struggled this year. By the way, that concept of taking it and bending it over, we do that consistently, because it actually creates more berry plants.
Yes.
Is what it seems to do.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
and by doing that, it saved me a few trips into the woods every year because I had some more plants automatically, and I didn't have to go dig them.
Right. Well, all right. I just thought I'd pass both of those by you. Always appreciate it. Great show, fellas. Appreciate it. And Scott, like I told you, yeoman's job today, powering through 6 hours when you're not feeling good. God bless you.
I appreciate that. Your support means a lot. You take care.
Thanks, Tom.
All right,
Take
Tom.
care, guys.
We have one more call. We only have about 90 seconds left, so I hope this caller, if they can just give us maybe a quick question you can answer, we'll try to do it that way.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, you're on the air.
Oh, hi. I was ready to hang up.
Oh, no, I got you. Well, we're running real low on time, though, so do you have a question for Garden Jargon?
Well, yeah. You know what? I've been helping a relative. We've been growing beautiful prize-winning roses for, close to 40 years in a little yard in Ambridge.
Oh,
okay.
And you know what? We haven't noticed Japanese beetles. I guess, are they eradicated?
That's funny because it's into that time of lightning bugs and Japanese beetles show up about the same time. And the big box stores make a killing selling those Japanese beetle traps and stuff. And you're right. I have not seen a Japanese beetle all year.
I remember as a kid we had a swimming pool. You had to fish those things out of the swimming pool all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
And your cats would catch them. Your cats would catch them and crunch down on them and eat them.
Yeah.
Good question.
Now they're called midge and aphids. You can hardly see them. They're so tiny.
Okay, yeah. The one thing that if you're into doing things non-toxic, the one thing that works really well for those aphids is called insecticidal soap. And it comes in spritzer.
Okay.
Yeah, you can buy it various places. You can buy it online. Sometimes you buy a 2-pack of them. It's like a spritzer bottle, like a 409 bottle, all right? And if you spritz that on your roses, on the leaves, on the petals, and that'll take care of a lot of the aphids and the things like that. And the nice thing about it is it won't make you sick. It's soap, but it's a special insecticidal soap. Okay. And another thing that you can use is a product called neem oil. There's a neem tree, and they cold press the oil from this tree, and they sell it. And you can either buy concentrated or ready to use. But if you spritz the neem oil on, do not put it on in the sunlight because it'll really damage the plant. Put it on in the evening or early in the morning, and that will help you control. And that way you won't be using some terrible toxic pesticide on your roses.
Yes. And I get that rose tone, and we sprinkle. It's like a fertilizer, rose tone, and that's really good to use.
Do you put?
You ever hear of rose tone?
I have not. I'm not a big flower. I do have some flower beds, but do you put tobacco around your rose plants?
Oh no,
A lot of the old timers, it keeps some of the pests away, and there's some nutrients in there. Now, unfortunately, there's not too many people that use tobacco anymore. But you could go buy a pack of tobacco and try it on a couple of plants, see how it works.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you for calling.
Your show today.
We appreciate you very much. You take care.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Charlie, our time just flew by today. It seems that happens every time you're here.
Well, that's and I that's the way I like it to go. When the people call in because we can look what you and I learned today.
How about that? About that?
Yes.
I'm looking forward to talking again about some gardening. Garden Jargon with Charlie Dirt.
Credit Union in Rochester.